All right, guys, welcome to today's class. Today we're going to start a new lesson and hopefully finish. All right, this is going to be ratios and rates and proportions. Hopefully, we'll finish it. All right, let's just start it. Problem 17. If two cats can catch three mice in 5 days, how many mice can 20 cats catch in 10 days? Clearly, this is an average ratio, right? As you can see, two cats can catch three mice in 5 days. How many mice can 20 cats catch in 10 days? This clearly is a scaled model, right? We'll think about it scaled, right? You have 20 cats. 20 cats can catch. Uh, 20 cats can catch 30 mice in 50 days. I think. No, it's gonna have to be double ratio. All right. Two cats can catch three mice in 5 days. So one cat can catch three halves of a mice in 5 days. All right. So if we have 20 cats, that's just gonna be times 10. We're gonna have 20 cats catching 30 mice in 5 days. Catching 30 mice in 5 days. And then we gotta multiply by 2, right? So it's still 5 days, and we have to double it since it's 10 days, right? On 10 days, so you multiply by 2, or 30 times 2, or 60, right? And the cats don't change, right? So the answer is just C, or 60. Remember that the ratio, if we multiply 2 on everyone, that's not gonna work. We gotta multiply 2 on only 2 of them, right? Now let's move on to problem 18. A log is cut in 4 pieces in 12 seconds using parallel slices. At the same rate, how many seconds will it take to cut the log into 6 pieces? Alright, what is the rate? In 3 seconds, we notice that if we divide by 4, you get 1 piece per 3 seconds. Alright, that's the ratio. I meant rate. Now, well, how many seconds will it take for 6 pieces? Multiply 6 by both sides and get 6 pieces in 18 seconds. Or, hold up, 4 pieces in 12 seconds, 6 pieces. Oh, hold up. Yeah, I think it should be 18 pieces, unless they made a mistake. Let's check again. A log is cut into 4 pieces, 12 seconds using parallel slices. Same rate. How many seconds will it take to cut the log into 6 pieces? Yeah, it should be 18. I don't know why they messed up there. But sometimes the problem messes up, so you can't answer. Like, in some cases in competitions, that sometimes happens, and there's nothing you can do about it, alright? But sometimes the problem is always correct. Most of the time, this problem is always correct, so you better check your answer if you don't get the answer choice, right? The cat and half eat a fish and a half in a day and a half. How many days will it take to take 14 cats to a to eat 14 fish? All right, a cat and a half can eat a fish and a half in a day. That's just saying a cat can eat a fish in half a day. All right, a day and a half. Now we want 14. That'll be 14 times 3 halves. Hold up. Now, if we have a cat and a half eat a fish and a half in a day and a half, how many days will it take 14 cats to eat 14 fish? Let's see what's gonna go on here. So we have half of a cat, one and a half, 3 halves of a cat, and eating 3 halves in a fish, right? Now it's not gonna take 3 halves of a day to eat for 14 cats to eat 14 fish. Well, actually it is. Let me tell you why. All right. Remember the ratio is gonna be 14 cats equal 14 fishes. Remember the ratio is just one cat eats one fish. Remember the ratio. That's the ratio, right? One cat equals one fish. Because it's three halves of a cat eats three halves of a fish, and that's equal in the three halves of a day. Well, that's saying one cat can eat one fish in one day, 1.5 days. Well, means each of the 14 cats can eat each of the 14 fish in three halves of a day, or A as our answer. Think about it through logic, alright? Problem 20. A watch set accurately at 12 noon at 5 p.m. indicates 10 minutes to 5. How many minutes past 5 is it actually when the watch indicates 5 p.m.? I'll just go to try this question and tell us through chat. Hey guys, for problem 18, I made a mishap and said there are 6 pieces using parallel slices. Well, then it takes only 5 cuts. This one, similarly, that would be 3 cuts. So you can do the math from here, but that's a small mistake that can do the problem itself in a big way, which should happen into 5 times 4 or 20, since there's going to be four cuts or 1 cut per 4 seconds, and there are 5 cuts, that would be 20 seconds, alright? My fault. I'm sorry. Anyways, you can continue on problem 20. All right, let's get started with this question. A watch set accurately 12 noon at 5 p.m. indicates 10 minutes to 5. How many minutes past 5 will actually be when the watch indicates 5 p.m.? Okay, so it's 12 at noon, right? At 5 p.m. it's going to be 10 minutes, all right? What's the distance? Well, it's basically 17 hours, and 12 noon is just 12 hours. So that'll be a total of 5 hours past. And it's going to be 10 minutes. That was going to be 10 minutes. And oh, gain a 10-minute every single time. All right? So, and notice that, so that means that it's going to be 2 minutes slow per hour, right? So, 60 divided by 58, that's going to be a ratio. Why? Because every hour that passes by, it's going to go by only 58 minutes, right? And we want to find how many takes it takes for go 5 hours. Well, it's gonna take 300 minutes or 60 times 5, all right? And it's gonna at that time in legit times going to be x, right? Solving will give you x is equal to 310 divided and 10 divided 29. Or notice that this is 300 minutes. That would be 10 and 10 over 29 minutes past 5. All right? Now let's move on to problem 21. 270 students attend a school dance. The ratio of girls to boys is 5 to 4. If 20 boys and 10 girls leave, what is the new ratio of girls to boys that remain at the dance? I'll let you guys tell me the question and I'll let you guys try this question and tell me to chat. Yes. Yeah.
I can't see the screen.
All right, let's get started with this question. So, how do we approach this? Well, notice that the ratio of girls to boys is 5 to 4. Right? That's just saying the total number of parts and total number of girls and boys is 9K. For some rate K, right? So the girls have 5K number, a number is 5K, and the boys have a number of 4K, right? And that total should be 270, right? Doing the division, we get K equals 30. So girls have 150 people, and boys have 120. Now, if 20 boys and 10 girls leave, what's the new ratio? Well, that's just 140 to 100, or 7 to 5, or D as your answer. Alright? Let's move on to problem 22. The sum of three numbers is 81, and the ratio is 3, 7, and 3 to 7 to 17. What is the value of the smallest number? Let's get a reply to the question and tell us through chat. All right, let's get started with this question now. Now, the sum of the three numbers is 81, and the ratio is 3, 7, 17. This means that the sum of these parts, you see these parts, 3 parts, 7 parts, and 17 parts. Some of them must be divisible, divided into 81 in this case, because there's three numbers, and their all answers are all integers. Right? Now, from here, we add all the parts up. There's 3 parts plus 7 parts plus 17 parts. That's 27 parts. So 27p is equal to 81. That parts p is what we want to find right now. That's going to give us p equals 3. Now we can plug in the p into the back to the ratio to find the total values, right? So it's going to be 9 to 21 to 51. That is the ratio. And you can sum it up, and that indeed gives us 81. All right. Now, what is the value of the smallest number? Clearly, it's just going to be 9. So the answer just to this question is just C. All right. Now let's move on to problem 23. The ratio of the length to width of a rectangle block is 2 to 1, and the ratio of the width to height is 3 to 2. Find the ratio of the length to height. Let's go ahead and try this question and tell me through chat. All right, let's get started with this question now. The ratio of the length to the width of a rectangle block is 2 to 1, and the ratio of the width to the height is 3 to 2. Find the ratio between the length to the height. Well, it's 2 to 1 with the rectangle block, and the width to the height is 3 to 2. So this is just telling you the width is, so let's say width is x. Then length is just 2x. What is, the width is x, so it's 1/3 x. So if we divide, that's going to be x is equal to 2/3. I mean, x is 3/2 of. I mean, x is 2/3 of the height, or 2/3 x is equal to the height. I mean, 3/2 x equals to the height. So that's the ratio: 3/2 to 2x to 3/2 of x. Or this is equal to 4/3. Or wait, hold up. No, what? So this is just gonna be 2x to 3/2 of x, alright? Notice that if we can multiply this similarly, it's gonna be multiplied by 6. If we multiply by 3 on both sides, we get 6 to 3 is 3, and then we got 3 to 2. Length to width to height. Now we can combine this into 6 to 3 to 2. And the length to height is just 3 to 1, or B. Alright, let's move on to problem 24. Bob bought 3 kinds of meat: pork, beef, and chicken, with the total cost of being $152. The ratio of the weight of pork, beef, and chicken is 2 to 4 to 3. The sum of the price per pound of pork, beef, and chicken is 6 to 5 to 2. What is the sum of the last digits of the cost of each kind in dollars? Also, guys, try this question in terms to chat. Alright, let's get started with this question. Now, this is gonna be we have the ratio between prices and some of the last years of cost of each kind in dollars, alright? So notice that total weight of this, of the pork, beef, chicken combined, let's just say it's 9 parts, alright? Say a part is just the ratio, right? The ratio in total is gonna be 9 parts in total. So chicken has 2 parts, pork has beef has I meant pork has 2 parts, beef has 4 parts, 3 parts are for chicken. Alright? Now the some ratio of the price of per pound of pork to beef to chicken is 6 to 5 to 2. What is the last digit of the cost of each kind in dollars? Let's see. $152 and the ratio per pound of the price per pound of pork, beef, and chicken is 6 to 5 to 2. Alright? Let's see. Say that's gonna be 5 parts, right? Let's let the weights of the pork, beef, and chicken be X, Y, and Z respectively. So we got an equation. So notice that 6x divided by the total of the pork and chicken is A plus B, C respectively. Why? Because notice that this is 13, 152 divided by 13. You do this. Oh yeah, also the ratio of the price is just going to be 6x plus 5y and 2z. Oops, not plus. Ratio. Let me make it clearer. And then from 1, we get y equals 2x. Oops. And then z is equal to 3 halves of x. What can we derive from the money? We wanted to look at the money. So what is it? Well, Bob bought 3 kinds of meat, and it's going to be a total of $152. That's the ratio between the weights. Alright? Now the ratio of price per pound is just going to be 6 to 5 to 2. Since it's going to be price, we want to care about price. The weight is going to be X, and the price we got to multiply together to get the total number price. So adding all this up, we should get the price of each one. Alright, since this is the total price, and this is going to be the price in total, how many it costs. Alright, now plugging in these values, we get 6x plus 10x plus 3x on the bottom. 6x is times 152 is for the pork, right? Now this is just gonna be 6 divided by 19 times 152 or 48. And then so we can do this same with beef. Now beef, that's gonna be 80. And then lastly you can do it with chicken. That's gonna get you 24. So adding it all up will give you 152. So we did it correctly. Now I want to find the sum of the last digits. That's going to be 8 plus 4 or 12. Or 2, 12. Yeah, it's going to be 12. Right? That's the sum of the last digits. So it's just going to be C. Alright? Now let's move on to problem 25. In a mixture of peanuts and cashews, the ratio by weight of peanuts to cashews is 5 to 3. How many pounds of cashews will there be in 64 pounds of this mixture? Well, clearly, it's going to be have 5 parts and 3 parts. A total of 8 parts. And 64 pounds, that's going to make it 8 pounds per part. Now we can multiply the parts by the number we have, which was 5 and 3. 8 times 5 is 40. And 8 times 3 is 24. Now we want to find the number of how many pounds of cashews. That's going to be 24 or C. All right. Now let's move on to if a recipe, problem 26. If a recipe for a 2-pound cake uses 1.5 cups of flour, at the same rate, how many cups of flour are needed for a 5-pound cake? All right. Clearly, you can see you can use from 2 to 1.5. This is the ratio, right? Now, to get to 5, we multiply by 5 fifths. I mean, 5 halves. Similarly for this, you multiply by 5 halves. So what you get from here is get 15 over 4. Alright, since 1.5 is just 3 halves. Or, and then multiplying this together, it gives you 15 over 4, or 3 and 3/4. Or A, right? Now let's move on to problem 28. George earned $7.65 for the 4.5 hours he babysat. At the same rate, how many dollars should he charge for 3 hours of babysitting? Same thing, we just find the ratio. What's the ratio? What's the unit ratio for 1 hour? Well, clearly, that's going to be 7.65 divided by 4, one half. That's going to be 765 divided by, let's just leave it 7.65 divided by 4 and 1/2. That's going to be 9 halves. And that's going to be equal to the ratio between the number of dollars you should charge divided by 3 for 3 hours. Right? Since, remember, if the ratios are the same, then the division between these two must be constant. So the number of dollars he should charge for 3 hours, if we divide that by 3 hours, that should be the same as 7.65 divided by 9 halves. Solving will get you $5.10. Alright? So the answer to this question is just A. Alright? Let's move on to problem 29. 7 black cows and 4 yellow cows give in 6 days exactly as much milk as 5 black cows and 8 yellow cows give in 5 days. Which color cow gives more milk? Black, yellow, equal, red, none of the above. Alright? Let's try this question in terms through chat. In private message, please. Yeah.
You paused your share screen.
Oh, what did you say?
You paused your share screen.
All right.
Okay, there.
All right, let's get started with this question. So we have 7 black cows and 4 yellow cows gives you 6 days, exactly as much milk as 5 black cows and 8 yellow cows given 5 days. It's not none of the above, and it's not red because there's no red. I don't know how you get a red with red. If you choose D, then I don't know how you found red. All right. Anyways, 7 black cows and 4 yellow cows in six gives in 6 days. All right. So that would be saying, say black cows is X and yellow cows is Y. That'll be 7X plus 4Y divided by 6 gives exactly as much as 5 black cows. Y gives in 5 days. Let's see if this ratio is correct. Oh, we should multiply actually. Why? Because oh wait, hold up. Given by a yellow cow a day. All right, let's see this. Okay, so if we did multiply by 5, then that's just saying that that should be the number of cows, a number of the rate per day. All right, and then if we divide, that gives the same ratio, right? Then we should divide, right? So if we don't divide, that's gonna be we multiplied. It seems like it should be multiplied, right? Since 5x plus 8y times 5, that's gonna be 5 in 5 days. Well, yeah, it's technically division. So we have these two ratios. We multiply both sides, we get 6 times 5x plus 8y. And 35x plus 20y. That would be a 48y and the 30x. Just do the counseling, you get 28y is equal to 5x. So x is equal to 5 over 28 x is equal to y. Or black has more milk. Alright? Why? Because 5 black cows and 8 yellow cows give total milk in 5 days is equal to 7 black cows and 4 yellow cows given 6 days. Well, that's just saying that the ratio between per day it should be the same. Alright? Oh wait, nope, it's not right. Oh yeah. Why? Because if we think about it, if we did it that way and we reviewed it by ourselves, we would see that this is kind of incorrect. Why? Because note that if we think about it, it's not per day, it's the same, right? If it was per day, then black was obviously better. So we have to multiply by 6 and 5, since that's gives in 5 days and in 6 days for the left one. So we have to multiply by 6, not divide by 6. Divide by 6 is the ratio. And if it's the ratio between days, then if that ratio is the same, then the 5 days it should be 6 days instead. Because the ratio is not even. It means that some black cows and 4 yellow cows will give more milk. 4 of these days. So I have more, not exactly same. So doing this instead, 6, it gives you 12x plus 24y is equal to 25x plus 40y. Doing the manipulation, and that should be 42x. Oops, I'm sorry. That should be 42x, and that should get you 60y is equal to 17x. This is just telling you y is a bigger value, or yellow is the biggest, gives more milk, right? So B is our answer, all right? That's it for today's class. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.